Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. You stick around long enough, you get a perfect sky over Camden Yards, and even my hair growing out here. I think I'm going through the John Bon Jovi bounce period here, moving out of the Paul Stanley animalized period. This guy's been a sponsor for a long time and a friend about town. He generally gives us advice with money and finance, and we were talking about wills and estates last week, and sometimes we're talking about insurance, and I think this week we might be talking about taxes, because usually April 15th makes all of us shake a little bit that we think about that with opening day. Leonard Raskin joins us from Raskin Global on the other side of March Madness. I mean, look, last week you're bragging about your kid and the Buckeyes and Ohio State, and I'm rah, 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 Maryland, where I'll be. It's opening day this week. How about that, Leonard? March Madness gone.
March Madness for the Big Ten is big done. They have Michigan. They have Michigan, which at Ohio State.
And who the hell can root for them?
Right. At Ohio State, it's like rooting for Duke. At Ohio State, they have, and I didn't know this, of course, but before my son went, didn't really matter. They have a song that they sing that they hate Michigan. It's hysterical.
I know they hate Michigan and Ohio State. I would think John Harbaugh's brother, pulling for old Wolverines and Juwan Howard. It was always great to me when he was a Bullet back in the day.
Yeah. Hey, but they hate him. They don't even say the M. It's the team up north and Exegan and all that kind of nonsense. But hey, they're the only one of the Big Ten 9 left standing at the end of the first week. What a crazy tournament. Oral Roberts.
Well, you and I have about a dozen of you, my sponsors and friends that I have on to talk about life and make me smarter about money or whatever your level of expertise is. You're the one guy, I mean, Dennis too. Dennis is really Ravens, but like sports people your whole life, like me, it's how you found me. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm not moving away from sports. I'm just sort of adding to what I'm doing. But like the last year with sports being gone, and we get together every week or two and we chat about this or that, and there were no sports forever, right? It was pandemic and plague and all of this. Now that sports is quote unquote back, right? Like it's been a year, the March Madness part of games being on, me trying to figure out where the hell True TV is, right? Or, hey, are the Terps on TNT or TBS or True TV or CBS or, and like playing around with it. I watched a lot of basketball, and I must say, it felt like getting on a bike. It felt like old times a little bit, and upsets, and to your point, Oral Roberts. And, for me, I was rooting for Rutgers the other night. We lost my dear friend Joe Boylan, who was, I think, may have been the last interview I ever did in his life, was with me last Wednesday. He passed over the weekend. I was in shock, but I was pulling for Rutgers.
Yeah.
And they let me down. Jersey will let you down in the end, Leonard. You know that.
Sister Jean for Loyola Chicago. She's out there praying, and the boys are playing.
Moeller's got a crush on her, man. Moeller's mentioned Sister Jean. He sent me 10 texts. He wants me to get Sister Jean on the show. I'm like, leave Sister Jean alone. She's got another week in the tournament,
Yeah, she's 101. I don't know if she'd be up for a good long chat. But
he thinks I should bring her to Baltimore for crab cakes. That was his idea this week. I think he's getting senile.
There you go. But, man, it was a wild and wacky tournament. And the good news is we get another couple weeks of it. So, and also the good news is I don't have to really be vested in anything now. Maryland's out, Ohio State's out. It's just kind of watching basketball now.
Well, look, your kid is a student there, right? And famously playing the band in Delaney, and we've talked about this before. He goes, he's just a student on campus, and then there's this other student on campus who just happens to play basketball, right? And after he plays a good game, the team stinks, they lose, get thrown out of the tournament. The social media part, I mean,
do
you really think a guy your age and a guy my age can understand what kids are, how different their lives are going to old Columbus than what it was for you or me at Dundalk Community College or UB? It is a different world.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't know how they deal with it. Look, these kids become public figures by virtue of playing a sport. And I don't know who's out there tweeting at them this nonsense. But Ohio State, they're dealing with the local and state police and the FBI. I mean, people are tweeting out to E.J. Liddell that he should be dead, that they want to kill him, that he had because he had a because his team lost a basketball game. This kid is salt of the earth. He's good as gold, great ball player, gives his all. Was a diehard Ohio State fan, Mr. Basketball in Illinois. comes to Ohio State because he just wanted to play there because he so loved the football team and the school and wanted to be on campus. And people are ragging him out on social media because they lost a game. I mean, this is
I'm glad
basketball,
you
man.
painted the picture for who the kid is.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is just crazy. And then a couple days later, this guy over at Illinois, Coburn, gets the same kind of thing when Illinois bows out. I mean, this is ridiculous. My only hope, and this is not a good thing, this is not going to sound great. My only hope is that it's young and ignorant people saying stupid stuff, and not somebody who's smart or who's old enough that they should certainly know better and just totally dumb. And it's ridiculous. This is a basketball game. What is with these people? I mean, I get it if you're I don't get it. Let me make this clear. I don't get it. If you're a bettor, I get it. You lost some money. That's your damn problem. If you lost some money, shame on you. If you're gonna rag on a kid because the team lost and threaten the kid, what the heck is going on in the world, man? That is ridiculous.
It is amazing. You talk about wagering. I had Rich Johnson on this week from Las Vegas, and I think we're all getting ready for that Ravens trip to Las Vegas. At least I'm, thinking about getting the shot. Uncle Larry says April 27th. I'll be lining up, and hopefully, by 4th of July, I'm clean and can be running off eating crab cakes wherever I want on weekends. But the wagering part of it, I mean, it's interesting. You would say that like somebody lost money on that. Well, yeah, I guess they did, right? And I had a dear friend of mine that went out to Vegas last week. He always wanted to do the March Madness weekend in Vegas. He finally crossed it off his bucket list. What's up, Terry? And having a good time out there. But I would just say there's no kid in the world, Daryl Morcell. I mean, whoever you've watched dribble, who thought when they were dribbling that at some point somebody would be wagering money on whether they would make or lose, make or miss a shot, a hit, a touchdown, a catch, a pass. And that is sort of the edge of where the culture is now, where we are going to be in Las Vegas. There's football there, there's wagering there, that's everywhere. We have state law here in Maryland, right?
It's going to be sports betting here in Maryland. And I get it. If that's your thing, great. But you better do your thing with an eye on the fact that especially with college sports, man, these are kids. He's a 19-year-old, maybe he's 20, I don't know, but he's a sophomore. This could be my son, 19, 20-year-old kid.
Legally.
Right. 19, 20-year-old kid putting his heart out there, playing a game he loves. And you're going to rag him out and threaten him because they lost a game? I mean, my goodness, what is with these people? For goodness sakes, it's ridiculous. It's unseemly. It's disgusting. I don't care how old you are, how dumb you are. You need to take a look in the mirror and get a life, man. That's just. I hope I'm not a big fan of people getting arrested, but you do stupid stuff like that, man. You deserve a fate. You deserve to be taken out.
I've been on the other end of that, at the hands of people on the internet. And it's just, that it is what it is, right? But when you're 19 years old, I'm 52, right?
Right.
I've got skin like an armadillo at this point.
Yeah,
but I'm just thinking, if I'm sending my kid to shoot baskets at a university, this is that it could happen, but then it actually happens. And you say, well, what's going to be done about it? Leonard Raskin is here. He is Raskin Global. He manages money and lives the American dream and tries to help his clients and our friends and our listeners and the people out there in my universe. If you've come into some money, if you need some advice on some money, Leonard's a great guy to do that. Raskin Global and RaskinGlobal.com. I know from a money perspective in the time of year we're in here, when I think of opening day, I think a lot of people think lacrosse season or whatever their spring sport of choice would be. Go out, hit a tennis ball, hit a golf ball, whatever it is. That tax season is here. This has been the weirdest year in so many ways. Leonard, I don't even know, like PPPs and business stuff and where you have to spend the money and is it a loan and where's the second round of paperwork for the government. I mean, my accountant and, on my side of things is a little befuddled by all of this. I would say this extra cooling off period, the extra month and 3 months in the state case, this isn't unprecedented, but it's something also you might want to take advantage of, right?
Oh, absolutely. Look, the IRS is so far behind from last year, and the tax season is just a mess. And with this new stimulus law that just passed, there's now new regulations in there that have a bearing on this year's filing of last year's taxes. So accountants, if you've already filed your taxes, you may, the IRS, this is an unprecedented, literally unprecedented occurrence. They have said that if you've already filed your taxes and you're due a refund because of a change in the law that was just made this month for last year, you don't have to file an amended return. They'll pick it up and send you what you're owed, which is just staggering. The IRS never does that. You have to file an amended return to get your money. They're saying you don't have to. That's how crazy things are right now. But as an example, they just, in this stimulus, passed that if you were unemployed in 2020 and you received benefits and you made under $150,000 last year, unemployment benefits are taxable. But now, if you made under 150, up to $10,000 of unemployment benefits are tax-free. And you might have already filed your tax return, reported that, paid taxes.
Under $150,000 is a lot of people in this country.
Absolutely. It's the vast, vast majority. And if you were unemployed last year, that's significant that you don't have to pay taxes on the unemployment benefits. So up to 10 grand tax-free, if you're in a 22% tax bracket, it's a couple grand back. It's significant. And so if you haven't filed your taxes, make sure you pick up on that. And the other thing is, usually in the tax law, it's like 75,000 single, 150 married, or 150 single, 300 married. This is 150 everybody. That's it. And usually it's like 150 to 170 or 110 to 130, and there's phase outs of this. This is it, 150 flat, 10,000 not taxable flat, up to that. So you got to make sure that you're there. And let's suppose you made 155 or 153, something, and you're going to miss it. Well, you know what? It might make sense to find a few bucks to throw into a deductible IRA. You put that money in an IRA up through the date you file your taxes, which includes the May date, May 17th, and you'll reduce your income below the 150, which might mean you pick up a $10,000 tax-free unemployment benefit. This is the most convoluted tax year. I've been in business in the financial world 33 years. I've never seen a tax year like this year, where things passed in 21 that are effective to your 20 returns have to be addressed, and you got to do things or could do things in 21 to make your 20 situation better. Also,
it's like retroactive tax, right?
Yeah,
like
it's crazy. But the thing is, so it's supposedly against the law to do a retroactive tax, but what this is a retroactive benefit. So it's kind of wonderful, but you got to take advantage of it. If you're a business owner, you can set up a SEP plan. You can set up a retirement plan and contribute to that and reduce your income. That might get you a stimulus check. It's unprecedented that you have to really, really dig in this year and figure out if your tax return looks like what the government will cause you to benefit as a result of some strategy you can still do coming up on your tax filing date, which is almost never the case, that after the end of the year you can still do measurable things to make a difference, but this year you can.
Leonard Raskin is here. He is Raskin Global. We love to talk football. We haven't done that much. We talked a little March Madness, but I want to go back. I want to get into a political fight with you. I don't usually pick a fight with you, but let's have some fun with this. Anybody that knows me knows I'm more left-leaning. Anybody that probably knows you knows you're more right-leaning, and that's fine.
Sure,
we can pick our fights and come together and all that. And, forget Biden, Trump, or who's lying or who's telling the truth, but at this point with the stimulus package and all the money coming in and $1,400 hitting me, you, everybody.
Yeah.
Give me be the negative red hat guy and tell me why that's so horrible and what, how the world's going to tell me what Fox News told me this week. Like the money's here. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, hang on. I can use the money and it's nice. And I'll do, I need a new refrigerator. There's things that I'm buying a new computer because I need a new computer because I haven't had one. So that's all nice, right?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking if I needed it to just pay my mortgage, or I needed it to clothe my daughter or son or whatever, or pay somebody I owed money to, we all owe somebody some money, right? Just give me the world's falling apart over 18 months because that happened. Give me the let's go to school today. Let's go to economics school.
Sure. So the deal is this. It has nothing to do with the 1,400. Both sides of the aisle, everybody in Congress wanted the 1400. That Trump's last bill was the 600, got the 600 out. The Republicans were all for 1400. Democrats were all for 1400. So the 1400 goes to all the people that qualify under the law to get the 1400.
Why is that a good idea?
I don't think it is, but
okay, go ahead.
But the reason it's deemed as a good idea is it spurs the economy, because most people that get it aren't going to save and invest it. They're going to spend it. They're going to put it into the economy. The multiplier effect of that money in the economy creates jobs. More people work. They spend their money. The tax revenue goes up and covers the cost of the 1400 that we gave to people that don't have money. For some people, as you said, I need to clothe Susie or feed Johnny. Man, it's critical. You need that money to live. It's critical. Okay, great. I got it. I'm all for it. What I believe the government, and so they say they couldn't do this, but of course they can. It should have been targeted to people that need it. If you're unemployed, you should have gotten a little better, bonus, bang for your buck. If you're working and you've been working this whole time and you just happen to make under the limit of, let's just say, 150 grand, what the heck do you need 1400 for? I'm going to go out and invest on Robinhood for some stock I'm going to buy, or I'm going to go buy, make a couple of payments on my car, or whatever it is. If you don't need the money, government just sending out money is not a good thing. Government doesn't have any money. They got to get it from somewhere. And where it comes from is either our children or grandchildren in the form of debt or the form of higher taxes that we all pay. So you're going to pay more taxes, and then they send.
What's your biggest concern about the debt that has been?
So let's finish the conversation of the bill, though. The 1400 isn't the issue. The 1400 all in to all the people they sent it to is 10% of the bill. It's the fact that the other money went to bail out union pensions and went to bail out states and cities that have really bad operations and balance sheets and have done poorly in the past, and gone to foreign governments to do all kinds of things. And if the goal was to support, because of COVID, the American people, they could have done that with a third or of the money they spent and done more. But that's the point. The bill has so much more in it, and you can't not pass it. As a Republican in Congress, they all look terrible because they were against it. And what the media and what the Democrats portray is they don't want you to have your $1,400. That's nonsense. What they don't want is the rest of the world and the rest of the where the money went, the other $1.5 trillion that wasn't for COVID relief. Everybody could have gotten a lot more out of the bill if it was purely COVID relief. You'd have gotten $5,000 a person instead of $1,400.
Well, I think the next 90 to 180 days are pretty critical here, right? As we get these vaccines in arms and
get the economy back open, things need to get happening. There's no doubt.
And people having $1,400 is probably not a bad thing, given where we are.
And the Republicans
I just always think that money washes back. People spend that money, and it goes back into taxes. It goes back into the people who invest money with you and the businesses they own. That they go to wise markets and shop, and it helps me, right? So
absolutely. So my point is, the 1400 was perfectly reasonable and does what it needs to do. It's all the rest.
Fair enough.
The fact that the 1400 was 10 or 12% of the bill, and there's 80-90% more that's fluff in the atmosphere, that's just spending money. And someday that's going to come home to roost. We have $28 trillion of debt on the books as a country. Now, we got a lot of assets, so we're not in dire straits. And as a cash flow item, interest rates being where they are, government receipts versus debt service paid is really cheap, because we got a lot of income coming in and zero interest rates. So the government's borrowing basically for free. It's pretty cheap. If interest rates turn up in the marketplace and the government has to pay more for this debt, it's going to be painful. And then we're going to be in trouble. Other services and other things are going to suffer dramatically. And then it has to be paid for. Taxes have to go up. And when taxes go up, and whoever they are, say taxes are only going to be on people that make more than $400,000 a year. And everybody rallies around the guy that makes 400 and says he can afford to pay more. The fact is, it'll never only be on the guy that makes 400. It's going to be on couples that make more than 400, which means a guy and a gal that make 200. And it's going to be on people that make 100, and it's going to keep coming down, and the rates are going to keep going up. And when that happens over time, that the rates go up and the income level that it's taxed on goes down, it's not just the rich that are going to pay. Everybody's got to pay. There's not enough money in the income of the rich to cover the spending that we've spent as a country. And this is not Biden. This is Biden. This was Trump. This was Obama. This was Bush. The Washington establishment cannot stop spending money. And I tell my clients all the time, you know, whether you're right or left, doesn't matter. The Washington machine sucks wealth out of the consumer and out of business for their purpose. The difference between right and left is whether or not you like what they spend it on. It's not whether or not they're going to take, because both sides are taking, man. They're not cutting our taxes to a level where they say you're a better arbiter of where you spend your money than we, the government, are. And central
we're about,
planning,
I mean, if you've driven around
work.
the city, you realize like infrastructure, you know, just, and that's just what you see. That's not the water coming out of the spigots,
That's right.
or when you poop and you flush the toilet where it goes. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I grew up in Dundalk, so I'm familiar with this, Leonard. But yeah, I mean, it's a big story right now, and obviously getting out, and I'll pull this full circle because you and I meet through sports. You're having an incredible golf tournament a couple weeks from now, doing a charity thing with Mount Washington Pediatrics. So I encourage everybody to support Paula Bragg and our friends there. But baseball over my shoulder here. We got the draft coming up. I've been walking around the city several nights this week, 60, 70, 80 degrees will do that to me.
Beautiful.
And getting some exercise and trying to stay out of Steve Elliott's chiropractic chair over there on Joppa Road. And, you know, I feel like things are coming back to life. And I don't think it's $1,400 or it's any one thing. I think it's sort of like the last year, it cost all of us. All of us missed something. All of us want something we couldn't have for a period of time. And, you know, I think that's going to serve our humanity well moving forward. I really do. I think the next 6 months here, I don't want to say roaring 20s, but I think people are going to redefine what's going to make them happy. I think
I hope we've
had a lot of time to think about that.
I agree. And I hope people have found during this time that they've spent some time thinking about, you know, what's important, what's less important, what's more important. You talk about that $1,400, and for some people, as we said, clothing Susie and feeding Johnny is most important. Thankfully, for a lot of people, that's not the critical thing that $1,400 is for. And there's a couple people, both sides of the aisle, you'll hear them say, if that $1,400 makes a difference in your life, you know, you're in bigger trouble than the fact that, you know, that $1,400 is there, man, you're in bad shape. And that's true. There are a lot of people where that really does matter.
Yeah, the $1,400 is literally a Band-Aid that's going to get you for 6 weeks. It's
is survival. You know, when that's survival, man, you're in bad way. And it's hard to think of anything else but survival. But when you're past survival and you've had this last year and maybe you're out of work or maybe you're working from home, boy, it's been good time to think about what's really important. And then as the cabin fever starts to burn off, and the shots in arms continue to go up and people are more comfortable getting out and about, I think you're right. I think the next months and year and so on could see the economy roar, could see people start spending money on things that they really care about. I don't know that I'd want to be in the commercial real estate office building landscape right now. A lot of people love working from home. A lot of companies are finding out they can work with a lot less rent and downsizing their office space. That's not going to be good for the commercial real estate world, but boy, I'll tell you, people are buying and upgrading houses and going to Home Depot and Lowe's and picking up new stuff for the house and renovating. And
it's amazing. My wife looks at all these buildings down here and says, I wonder how they're going to make that a condo.
That's right. That's right. Well, you know, I saw an article. There was an article in the Journal. I think it was yesterday or the day before. It showed, it stated a fact. This was unbelievable to me. There are more realtors in America, real estate agents today in America, than there are homes for sale. More realtors than there are
because there are no homes because there
right.
is no inventory right now. I'm about to put my condo up. If you love the view, come buy it, baby.
Low inventory and lots of realtors. And so, boy, if you're in that business, you got to stand out. You got to separate yourself from the crowd because there's less than a house for every one of you.
Are there more lawyers than politicians, or no? We haven't figured that out.
Yeah, there's more lawyers than politicians, but it's like all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares, right? One of those
Absolutely.
things. There you go.
Leonard Raskin is here. He's Raskin Global. I hope everybody goes out and finds him. You can find him at the front of BaltimorePositive.com. You can find him at the Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital golf tourney in a couple of weeks. You'll find me there as well as Don Moeller and Jeff Moeller. So we're going to make it, David. Jeff's going to be selling my house, so we'll have a long day out on the course. I hope you get some sun sunshine that day. We had some 80-degree days in March. The least we can do is flip that into April. I'll
Here's
see you
hoping.
in a couple of weeks. And by the way, opening day, April 8th, you and I will be getting
Yeah,
together right around that home opening days, April 8th. They'll
right.
be in Boston next week. So, hey, man, it's officially spring. Let's get shots in the arms
Amen.
and let's go out there and maybe at some point we'll have crab cake together, all right?
Yeah, watch a nose game. What the heck?
Well, there's 162 of them, so there's plenty to pick from.
Plenty to go.
Leonard Raskin joins the Serious Raskin Global. Taking care of your money and your financial future and your American dream. Find him at RaskinGlobal.com. You can also find him at BaltimorePositive.com, where you'll find me. We are WNST.net, AM 1570. If you need me, nasty at WNST.net. Still finds me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat. Perfectly orange skies over a perfectly blissful, socially distanced 11,000 Camden Yards. We are WNST, AM 1570, Baltimore Positive.